Talk to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt, and today I am joined by none other than KennyBomb. Kenny, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for joining me.
What's going on? Thanks for having me on, Matt. I appreciate it.
It's no problem. So we got big things in the news today. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about, well, we talked to the pre-show for a minute there about Spider-Man. We're both very excited. Kenny's actually going to be streaming it live over on his channel, which is pinned in the top of the comments there if you guys want to go and subscribe to Kenny. My guy Kenny, he's past 20,000 subscribers. He puts out content daily. He's working his tail off. You need to care. Show him some love. YouTube.com/@KennyBomb is the way to go. But seriously, Kenny does great work. I follow Kenny for quite some time. Kenny, I started off by seeing you on my timeline just popping up. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to click on a video. Let's see what this man is all about. And I was like, Kenny's like me. He's just chilling, talking wrestling, and he's talking Mortal Kombat. Right. But Kenny does a great job, guys. He covers everything from Mortal Kombat. He covers AEW Fight Forever and WWE 2K content. Kenny, am I missing anything else that you do? Plus the podcast.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, that's pretty much it. I cover everything I want to cover, so it's not really tied to anything. I love wrestling, but if you come over, just don't expect to get just wrestling, because I do Mortal Kombat, UFC, of course, waiting on Wrestling Code, WWE 2K24. So, I mean, we love wrestling games, but it is a lot more over there. So, the most unfocused channel on YouTube.
Beautiful. Well, let me know, because if you start dabbling into even more stuff, like if you're like, I got an itch for Spider-Man, and you start doing it and pulling numbers, then I gotta flip my keyboard and start over, and then poke you and see what's good and what's working. Kenny, I want to kick things off though with a little bit of news. Number one, as you said in the pre-show, you have become. You're going to admit to yourself something here regarding AEW. What is that, my friend?
That I think I'm finally an AEW guy. I think I'm ready to admit it. I always said, you know what, I'm even, standing on the fence, keeping everything balanced, but I find myself enjoying AEW's product more than WWE now. I'm sorry, I know that's probably not popular with the chat, but I mean, it's just where we are right now.
It's actually
not popular with our podcast either. A lot of the guys are WWE guys.
Okay, the question here is, number one, I don't care. Not that I don't care what you say. I don't care that you watch one thing or the other. It's great. You watch wrestling. Why though? Why for you is it you feel like things are swinging for you of just your enjoyment? Like, why AEW right now more than WWE?
Yeah, so it's not that I just only watch AEW. I still do watch WWE, and I love WWE. Always did growing up, and I don't think that'll ever go away. I think I might be going to Royal Rumble next year now that I saw Bryan's going, and I'm definitely going to WrestleMania. So it's not that I hate WWE, but just right now, when it comes to the product on TV, WWE puts out so much. 3 hours of Raw, SmackDowns on Friday. Fridays are hard for wrestling, so I found myself, kind of falling back out of it. So just not watching as much as I used to. Where AEW shows in the middle of the week on Wednesday, I can catch Dynamite every week, and I enjoy Dynamite, even though some people, got complaints about it or whatever. Overall, I do enjoy it. Collision, I don't watch it live on Saturday nights. I do when I can, but, I can catch it normally when I'm at work on Sunday or whatever. So I just find it easier to keep up with the AEW shows and WWE now. So it's just where we are.
Do you think that it'll be a problem for you, or just, I say fans in general though, but if/when AEW goes to like 12 pay-per-views a year and we're doing the monthly cycle, what do you think about them doing that? Because we've seen it where they're just like, okay, we got Wrestle Dream, they're dipping their toe in, the deal with HBO Max looks like they are going to head in that direction with streaming. Do you think that they're going to go to 12 pay-per-views, and do you think that that's good or bad?
I think if they get that streaming deal, they definitely will go to 12 pay-per-views, and I don't mind it. I know a lot of people say, I just complain there's too much wrestling. I love wrestling, and I love the pay-per-view shows. So as long as they're keeping it focused, like if we're going to do 12 pay-per-views a month, we need to have point A, point B, point C. That means there needs to be a build up to that pay-per-view, and not just, okay, we got a pay-per-view next week, let's just throw some random matches on this pay-per-view. Yeah, it's going to be good, but, I like to have story in wrestling, so I don't want to just jump into pay-per-view just to have a pay-per-view. So as long as they keep the build and, the pay-per-views are actually big and feel like big shows, then I don't mind them doing 12 per year. But they definitely do need to have that one show that's like their WrestleMania that everybody goes to, and, they push more than all of the others.
That's what I feel is missing right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the one thing, and that was also my thing with WCW, right? I know they had Starrcade, but they didn't position Starrcade as the WrestleMania. And I feel AEW does the exact same thing. And I'm like, you guys need that one. Is it Double or Nothing? Is it All In, All Out, Wrestle Dream? Like, what is the one show you are going to make it feel like it's a 2-day weekend event to get even just the marketing push? Because I'm always wondering with AEW, I'm like, so is Double or Nothing the big one that I cannot miss? I know it's depending on the card, but you know what I mean? It's not like they're built, they don't build All In as, especially this past year. Was it All In or All Out?
Yeah.
But
it's All Out now, but now it's All In again. So,
I just feel like they need one that's like the big show for it. What did you think about with current AEW storylines? What do you think about Edge being in there now? The story with Christian, but overall, just Tony Khan bringing in the ex-WWE guys, loading up the roster more than it already is. Like, what do you think about Edge being in there?
So I think Edge is a good piece of the puzzle. You know, CM Punk is gone, which I'm not a CM Punk guy, but a lot of people loved him. So maybe those people who loved CM Punk come in to see Edge, or, you know, maybe Edge fans come in to, you know, fill that void where the CM Punk fans left. So I don't mind them bringing Edge in, but I think they kind of got to focus on what they have now, because they're just bringing in names from WWE, and it's kind of like what TNA did. You just keep bringing in those big names, and you're not focusing in on with the guys on your roster. So, you know, it can be kind of like a double-edged sword. It can help you, but I mean, it can hurt you as well. It just depends on how they actually position everything. But as far as him coming in, working with Christian, I think Christian is doing the best work of his career right now. I see a lot of people saying it, and I absolutely don't disagree with it. I just hope they don't, because we see, just like last night on Dynamite, Edge said, I'm not going to fight him or whatever. So we see where that story's going. Hopefully it doesn't get to a point where Edge comes in and beats Christian. I mean, because Christian is a guy, they got on the right path in AEW. Now you let the WWE guy come in, beat Christian. Now he's back where he was before. So it just really depends on how they kind of play with these pieces they have.
Do you think they're going to is Christian going to drop the TNT title before, like during all of this with Edge? Because I feel like I almost want the TNT title. I love it with Christian, but I'd love it if it got away from their story. Otherwise, I feel it's too bloated, and a guy like Swerve or Ricky Starks or somebody else can benefit from, here's the title run, or even Wardlow again if they build him up properly. But he might be going with MJF.
Yeah. So I was thinking the same thing as far as the TNT title being on Christian. I don't think he needs it right now, being that he's so good. But whenever they did the Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson, I know I saw you say you wanted Swerve Strickland to win that match, but I was like, if he does win, is it time for him to lose to Christian? Then I was thinking maybe he does win this match and something happens where they pull like a swerve or whatever somehow, and they get the belt off Christian to get him pinned. That way you can have Edge and Christian go to the side on their own, and you can have Swerve Strickland have that TNT championship run. So I don't know how they're going to do it. The fact that he didn't drop it to Bryan makes me think he's going to keep it, but I don't think he needs it right now. Yeah,
I agree. I don't feel like it's necessary. And yeah, with Swerve, you can see that he's going with Hangman again. So, okay, we're going to do that. You got to feel like, okay, Swerve got the first win, so are you going to 50-50 book it where you're going to give it to Hangman? Or are you just going to have Swerve dominate? Because I think you just get Swerve to dominate, and maybe Swerve skips. Like, I want Swerve to win the world title. I think he's that good. His promos are excellent, and he's on a roll. I know he's not going to take it off MJF, but maybe a small step to all of that is the international title, because that thing had a great run with Orange Cassidy, but now you're ping-ponging it around. I know because of the injuries with Mox, and now we're flipping it back to Orange Cassidy. Like, to me, get Swerve in there and get him with Orange Cassidy and just take him to town and get that international title.
Yeah, the international title might be my favorite title on AEW right now, thinking about it, because, you know, that champion, they always come out, have the first match. The match is always a banger. Then it goes away. Now there's usually no storyline with them, but, you know, they always have good matches, and it makes it feel like that title means something, because, you know, when you see that international champion, they're going to come out first and they're going to put on that banger match to start off the show. Then we'll keep it moving. So I think that'll be a good match for him to just kind of cement himself into this spot that he has right now. And you just mentioned something with the Hangman Page thing. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, man, they're going to go with this 50-50 booking. I think Hangman Page definitely, he's one of their stars.
Yeah.
He's one of their stars that they need to focus on, and they kind of let him fall down a bit. So to have him lose twice, I don't know if you want to do that. But again, with Swerve having this momentum, you just had him lose to Bryan. So does he go and lose to Hangman Page as well? They put themselves in those positions a bit too much. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Swerve.
I think that maybe what you do is Hangman did it a while ago where he had like his climb from underneath story. They got into it with the Bucks and he got into the alcohol and stuff. And maybe they're going to tell, more of a personal story with Hangman again, where it's have him lose twice to Swerve, but to set up Hangman off doing his own thing where he's got to find himself and build himself back up while Swerve can just keep going. My one concern with AEW, they have a lot of good pieces. Storytelling in terms of like longer story arcs with character development, like you said, I'm like, that's what I feel I'm missing with this. My one real concern is they got a guy like Swerve and they're building him in a really good way, but that they don't deliver at the end. Do you have similar concerns? Like, what do you think is one of the major issues with AEW's booking right now?
I think it's exactly that. Like, they get people to a point where they're hot. Like, we saw it happen with Ricky Starks. We saw it happen with Wardlow. They did good with Jade Cargill because I guess she dropped the belt because she was getting out of there. There's just a long list of guys you can really go through. But that's the thing. If they get Swerve Strickland to this point where, he's ready to get that championship and he takes a loss and then they just pull back and whoever beats him, they get that spot. They kind of just pull these guys in and out just too much. Like, I thought Wardlow I thought he was going to go to the moon after he left MJF, but it kind of got lost with him afterwards, and they seem to do that a lot. One person I'm really invested in right now, probably, honestly, one of my favorite, I'm going to say top 3 on the AEW roster is Julia Hart. Just because we saw her come in and she wasn't experienced or anything. Her character was kind of just a cheerleader, and she's come a long way. She plays her character well. The Undertaker is my favorite wrestler of all time, and I think she's kind of pulling off that female Undertaker gimmick well, and she's gotten a lot better in the ring too, which is important in AEW. Even though she is smaller, when she's in there, I kind of believe what she's doing. So hopefully they don't do the same thing with her because she just lost to Chris Statlander, which is understandable if she was taking some time off. But hopefully when she comes back, I would actually like to see her get that TBS championship. Malachi Black, call. That's another one. We can go on for a long time with that.
Number one, I didn't know you were an Undertaker guy. What's your favorite Undertaker match? What's your favorite Undertaker match or feud?
My favorite Undertaker match, Undertaker Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25. That's my favorite match of all time. Favorite Undertaker feud, Stone Cold versus The Undertaker, where he had Stephanie McMahon on the cross.
Yes, my man. All right. That works for me. I love that. I love how with the Ministry of Darkness too, that that moment Austin has to do the run in and JR sets it up perfectly. Like, he didn't want to do it, but it was the right thing to do because he hates McMahon and Undertaker's in the dude. Those are the best. I miss those days. Not that with the crosses. They can't do that anymore, but
obviously not. They said it wasn't a cross, it was a symbol, but
it's a symbol. It's an Undertaker symbol.
Yeah, man.
There's no undertones.
Great days though, man. Ministry Undertaker is my favorite.
Did you liked the first Undertaker Shawn match better than the second?
Yeah. It was, don't get me wrong, both I would put on like a 10 scale, but first one, yeah, it was just that moment in time when I was watching it. It was just like blew my mind and the emotions I got out of it. I'll never forget. So yeah, I think that one was my favorite.
Scott Bond in the chat says it wasn't a cross. It was a lowercase t. Thank you, Scott. That's right. Darn right. Last two things I want to talk to you about with regards to AEW, and I guess I'll throw in a little CM Punk in there too. Sting was the biggest news that I saw on Dynamite last night. So what do you think is going to be Sting's retirement? Who is Sting's retirement opponent in your eyes? Is it Darby? Is it a tag match? What do you think they do with Sting for his final run?
Well, when Edge got over there, or Adam Copeland, if everybody wants to be politically correct,
no,
or whatever,
it's Edge.
When he got over there, he was he brought up Sting, like, you did this to Sting. So he was bringing up Sting, and I think Sting versus Adam Copeland, I think that'd be a good way to send him off. Which the retirement announcement was kind of strange to me, but
kind of out of nowhere. Like, did you think it was just out of
Yeah.
nowhere, or like it was kind of flat? Like, what was your take on his whole thing out there?
Just the timing of it. Because when is Revolution? Is that like in February or
Yeah, I think
March?
so. It's New Year,
so
yeah.
yeah, just popping up just right now. Like, hey, my retirement match is at Revolution, not Full Gear or not Winter's Coming or whatever they have coming up. Just to jump a few pay-per-views forward. I don't know why they would do it now, opposed to waiting closer to that show to start like a build-up feud. So maybe they get him paired with whoever he's going to face right now, and they just build up to that match. So I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I don't know why they would do it just on a random Dynamite like this.
I have a thought, Kenny. I have a thought. They're announcing it because it doesn't make any sense. You've got like 3 pay-per-views probably until between now and then. Why randomly announce Sting? Here's my thinking. 2 things. 1, he's going to do multiple matches like every pay-per-view to building to his retirement. So like give us the Darby match. Maybe he goes against Christian. And then I agree. I think Edge would be a great final face versus face. I mean, Edge can lose, like Sting could win. It doesn't matter there. Just let him go out. But the other thing I just thought of is if he's not going to be done until like February, maybe it's to coincide with streaming deal. And maybe they are going to hype up in the new year. Here's one of the giant marquee matches. We're going to kick off our, new 12 months of pay-per-view programming, and Revolution is the massive one we're starting with. And it's going to be Sting's retirement show. So maybe they do that because then that's automatically, you think that's a big pay-per-view boost as well.
Yeah. Well, you made it make sense to me. So, yeah, I think that's good. If they do, if they do give him that retirement run where he's wrestling on every pay-per-view, so, yeah, it would make sense. And with the streaming deal, it'd be a good sell for it. Now, both of us just said Edge probably would be his last match. Do you think that's a good thing? Or should it be a young guy who kind of gets the jump from him? Like retiring him in a sense.
If it's a young guy, I agree with Edge because it's like it's kind of one of those fantasy matches. It's like the Triple H Sting match in WWE, only maybe which was just a fun thing where Sting should have won. But it's kind of just a nice positive send off for younger talent who could use it. I don't know. I mean, the obvious answer I think is just Darby to have that story play out of like Darby being like, I need to prove to myself I can beat you. Do you think it should be Darby, or do you maybe it will be Darby? But do you think as an alternative, is it Darby? Is it Ricky? Like, is it who's another talent you could slot in there that could benefit from it?
So I think Darby would probably be a good one, kind of like putting down the old man or whatever. Like, you know what? If anybody's going to take you out, I think it should be me or whatever. I don't know how they would tell it, but I don't know if Darby ever makes it to that world championship level. So, I mean, are you going to boost him up to give him the TNT championship, or I don't know where we would go with it there. If not Darby, I don't know about Ricky, because honestly, I think Ricky's out of there. I don't know if you want to give Ricky Starks that for the chance for him to jump over to WWE. I mean, that's what they're going to have to kind of watch out for right now, because I would make sure whoever gets it is kind of locked in under a contract for the next few years so they can do something with them. Because you're going to want to be careful. I was going to say Powerhouse Hobbs could just go in there and kind of destroy him like he did Chris Jericho, but I don't know. You got to be careful with these guys. So maybe Edge is a good choice.
As long as it's not a tag. I know Sting can go. We've seen him do crazy stuff, but like I don't want to see Sting retire in a tag team match. I want Sting in a one-on-one match, the full entrance, theatrics, all of it. If I'm not going to get Sting versus Undertaker or even in the ring, I need full WCW Sting. Like I need the original. I mean, unless he came out as Surfer Sting, that would just be hilarious.
Yeah. What if he comes out with the red face paint? Wolfpack Sting.
Go Wolfpack, and then he comes out to Wolfpack theme, and then Tony Khan buys the theme, and he puts up the 2 Sweets. Then Kevin Nash comes in and takes them all out. Jackknife brother. What about CM Punk here? That was the other bit of news I wanted to ask you before we get into some Fight Forever and 2K stuff. But the news with Punk right now, I saw on Wrestle Talk this morning that Impact made him an offer. I don't think he goes to Impact personally. I don't think they can keep him in there, and it's even worth him. They'd have to pay him obscene amount of money. I think WWE is the place to go. Do you think with everything where the word is WWE is saying, no, we're not in talks with him, it's all rumblings, Punk is teasing stuff, Survivor Series, do you think he goes to WWE, Kenny? I need to know. Somebody else thinks the way I do.
My thought was no. all the guys on the podcast we do, they were all saying yeah, but you know what? Thinking about it, I think it's definitely possible because what's his name? Ari Emanuel. We see he's calling the shots now. He got Vince McMahon off the writing team. So I know WWE, like Triple H, those guys might not like CM Punk, but it seems like the guys from Endeavor, if they want CM Punk in there, CM Punk's coming in there. So, you know what? Just based off of everything that happened before, I wouldn't even look at that because if the guys from Endeavor want him in, he's coming in. So I think it's possible. Do I want him to? No, I want CM Punk to go away. I'm sorry, y'all who love him, but I just want him to go away forever.
Oh,
but I think it's a good chance he shows up either at the Rumble or Survivor Series.
Not a Punk fan, eh? Not a Punk fan. So you were tickled then on NXT when you saw Undertaker pulling in on his motorcycle, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Oh no, that kind of. I was like, oh no, I don't like biker Undertaker.
No,
I'm not a biker taker guy.
Oh,
no.
You're a dead man. You want the dead man?
I'm a dead man only guy. Yeah, which I like the biker taker's antics, like when he held the microphone up and made Braun Baker look up at it and then punched him. That's like a biker taker thing. I do like those type of stuff, but no, overall, it's either dead man Undertaker or no Undertaker.
My goodness.
For me.
He doesn't like it, guys. He wants him to be the real dead man and go. He doesn't want him flirting with Michelle inside the gym, doing squats and thrusts. Not up to him. He doesn't like the biker taker. Fair enough.
Man, I was so mad. I was so mad when he cut his hair too.
Yeah, that was a nasty move. When he went shaved down to that thing, he went for the MMA taker. That's the worst Undertaker. If you're going to rank takers, you go for regular old school taker. You got biker taker. Then you got MMA taker. MMA taker's the worst.
Worst, absolute worst.
He looked like he was in pain.
But he was still an Undertaker, so I liked him, whatever. But I didn't like. I was so mad about it.
All right, I gotta ask now about one of the important things. I watched your video from the other day, Kenny, over at youtube.com/@KennyBomb. Guys, it's in the comments. Hit that link. Go over to Kenny. Give him some subscribes. Help him out right now. You did a video talking about AEW Fight Forever, and a lot of us have been talking about how there is a potential for a season 2 content drop. I need to know what you think about that, but update my audience of the dummies. That's what we are. I'm calling them all dummies. They understand it, or they get offended either way. Yeah. But let us know what is going on right now with the latest potential patch and update.
So news came out from Fightful stating that they got confirmation that they were scanning more people into the game, which leads a lot of us to believe there will be a season 2 of DLC wrestlers, at least for AEW Fight Forever. Now, Zardy said before that they scan these wrestlers in all the time, but that doesn't mean they're going to make it into a game. So I wouldn't take that as 100% confirmation. It is a good indication that they are going to be doing more. But Zardy did put in Discord, I think it was a day or two ago, that there is a patch coming. There is a new update coming, and fortunately, he would be out of the office, but somebody would update us when it was going to drop. So we don't know what's going to be included in that patch, but I'm just hoping that they don't look like the last few patches we got, where it's just these minor fixes. Because there was a mod that came out from Melon Bread that had a lot of good fixes that a lot of people were asking for since this game came out. And if that's just one person making those fixes, I don't know what's going on with Ukes and why we don't have patches like that actually fix the gameplay that we were asking for. So there is definitely another patch coming, and there is the possibility that season 2 is coming as well. But one thing we were talking about is the fact that wrestlers aren't going to be enough to make us come back and play this game. The Hookhausen pack came out, I believe, just a few weeks ago, and I still haven't even downloaded them on the game yet because it's really just going to be the same game with these 2 wrestlers that I'm only going to use 1 or 2 times. So I think what we really need from season 2, if we do actually get it, is more match types, at the least. I would say if they give us 2 or 3 more match types, cage match maybe, coffin match, let's say special guest referee match, whatever, something in there that actually changes the gameplay and gives us more to do, I would like to see it. Otherwise, I don't know what we're doing as far as patches go or updates season 2.
I'm kind of with you. If it's just minor fixes, here's another patch with another Rolodex of 50 fixes. Number one, great that they're supporting the game and that they are doing enough fixes on the back end. But I feel, and I don't know, but it feels like they've done 2 giant patches to clean things up. And those were like the big kind of first month, we need to get these things fixed. And now they're in a state where the game's stable, everything's fine. And I say fine, everybody, but like in terms of what the product is, what the game is in itself. We need reversal stuff fixed, pins, like all this stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm with you that this game cannot come out with, here is a season 2 content drop, and you're getting the acclaimed, and you're getting Jamie Hayter and Saraya and Edge and all these guys that are going to be listed, and with a roadmap of DLC releases. I don't need it. I'm sure if that there are players that are playing it, but in large part they're not. It's like, I'm with you. It doesn't matter to me if you give me the entire current AEW roster. That's not the problem. We need those match types and those large fixes. That is going to bring enough people to at least turn the game on, I think. But for you, like, if they gave you cage match, then what were in Road to Elite? Handicap match, gauntlet match.
Yeah, like a gauntlet. Yeah.
If you got those, would that be enough, or are you still missing like a create a pay-per-view or a universe mode light version? Like, is that enough to just get 3 match types, or do you worry, or like for yourself or for fans and players, do you think, man, they're still going to drop off because you're still adding in one more match type, right? Like, what do you think is they need to do?
I think the big thing would be for them to put out a roadmap. You know, if you want to prevent people from dropping off, or just let them know what to expect, because if you put one match in the game and that's it, then it's going to be like, okay, well, we got this match. What's next? Even if they have a plan to drop another match 4 months down the line, people will play that match. They'll go silent, and they're not going to be expecting anything else. So they'll fall off the game. But if they give us a roadmap like, hey, guys, we're supporting this game, this is what we're going to add over this time, then I think people will. You know, some people will stay more invested because they know what to look forward to. Personally, for me, like if they say, let's say they gave us a cage match, one match, and then 2 months later we got the special guest referee, or my favorite match, Buried Alive match, which I know is not going to happen. But I would be like, okay, you know what? We got things to look forward to. We should continue playing this game, because I like to play with subscribers and stuff like that. So I'll get on stream and just play with the other people, because I don't like to play with random people online. So I'd rather play with people like as I'm streaming and stuff. And if we have things to do as we're playing, then I think that's fine. But like, we're just getting there right now. We'll do a 4-way match, take 4 more people, do a 4-way match, and we can't really mix it up, and we don't have any variety. So if they give me some different things to do, then yeah, we'll have a lot more fun. But playing the same match online over and over and over, just, it gets boring.
I need like a create a pay-per-view. I agree that we need more of the match type, like tag team ladder, gauntlet, handicap, stuff that's within the confines of what's already there. Like, to not give us a steel cage match day one and doing 1 to 4 players. Like, I know everyone will say, hey, we don't have trios matches, and where's this? I'm like, you know what? It was never said that we were going to get that. We're sticking up to 4 players. So be it, but maximize that into, here's your ladder, here's your cage, here's, I don't know, like the no DQ, like more options within up to 4 players, like you're saying, to be able to mix it up and not just stuck in a fatal 4-way. I think it's one of the big things. For me, it's, if they're going to do any type of mode, I'm like, just at the very least, give me create a pay-per-view. I had it 20 plus years ago. Why? Like, why not put a basic level create a pay-per-view in there? We can create 1 to 12 shows, make the show line up, and off you go. It's rudimentary. It's nothing deep, but at the very least, people might be able to share online, or they're just going to at least be able to put some, even content creators, people will be able to put out and say, here's my universe mode, and I'm starting things off with all in, and here's my match card. I love that stuff. I love just building out match cards, and then I can play through some of the matches on top of more match variety. Like, customize a match settings too. That's one thing. I can't take a one-on-one match and just do create custom match type and say it's KO only or it's submission only.
Yeah.
It's a bothersome. But yeah, it sounds like we might get patch sooner than later. I just hope that it's, like you said, it's a more of a roadmap. And if one modder is out there, like you're saying, and is like, yeah, I fixed this, change this. And we see that on the 2K side, where it's like there are modders who are making the game way better, and the question mark is, so how come a modder is unpaid and just working in the community is able to do this, but dev, you can't? And particularly with AEW, where it's not an annualized game. It's supposedly, this is going to be the thing now for a few years.
Yeah.
Do you think but do you think we get a Fight Forever 2, or do you think they stick with this and be like, we're going to just make a 2.0 within it? What do you think they do long term?
I think we definitely get a Fight Forever 2. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they did say WB Sports was looking to boost their game division. So I don't know if they keep Ukes doing it or keep them with Fight Forever and do something else. But if WB wants to stick with AEW, if they believe in them and they want to help them produce a game, then I mean, they could help them with a lot bigger budget to come out with maybe a sim-like game or whatever. I would rather the arcade style because I do love the gameplay in AEW Fight Forever. But I don't know. I think if they completely abandon this game and we don't see anything else, then they'll definitely come out with the second one. If they do start giving us more content, more matches and things like that, I think they stick with this one for a while. But I think if this one just disappears and we don't hear anything next year, then we'll definitely get a second one.
You got to figure too from AEW's side, like you said, if they go with a new game developer, I could see that. If they just say, we're done here, this did not work, maybe you change up the leadership within AEW Games and you don't have it head by, say, maybe Kenny Omega. Maybe you go with somebody else who has background, or you hire someone and bring them in who is a former game developer or someone who's knowledgeable within it, more knowledgeable, I should say, and have more experience directly. Be like, we're going to work with the WB or someone else, and it's going to take us another 2 years, 3 years to put together another game.
But you know what? Even if that's the case, I think that's fine, because I just hope they don't completely jump out of the game. WWE, WWF, WrestleMania, Attitude, Warzone, all the SmackDowns, all the Day of Reckonings. The game division, actually, it's going to bring in money. So just because this one doesn't work for you, I don't think they should abandon it altogether. Maybe if you're not happy with what Ukes did, get somebody else to do the game. I mean, EA wanted to make a WWE game, apparently. They were kind of going back and forth with 2K to see who was going to get the license. Does EA want to invest in AEW? I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm sure there's another company out there who will be willing to make an AEW game, especially now that the product is bigger than it was when they started this one. So just really depends on what they want to do, and if they take this as a big loss and they don't want to invest anything into it no more, to see where we go from here.
But maybe they do. You make an interesting point, though, of maybe AEW takes the old school route of, here is THQ Nordic doing our Fight Forever game, and EA is also working on our larger, more, I don't know, simulation experience game. Or they have the mobile games, obviously, but maybe it is more of that approach where, well, we're going to diversify our games division and we're going to put money in 2-3 companies, and they're going to make an all-stars type game. Or basically that's what Fight Forever is more leaning towards. I know it's more the No Mercy style, but you know what I mean, the more arcade style. You got Fight Forever for that, and then maybe you go with like, an EA, and I don't want microtransactions, but you go with an EA for that UFC, that sports type, with a better engine and bigger budget to work with, to be able to put something out and go, here's a full roster, here's a universe style mode, a GM mode, every single match type you could want, and that kind of deal. And then that one can go, like Tony Khan loves, just go head to head with WWE.
Yeah, for sure. And I think EA might even be, I think that might be the best possibility, because if they were speaking to WWE about taking over the 2K franchise, then you got to think they're in the background working on a wrestling engine, just so if that conversation happens again, they have something to show them. That could have been what, kind of make them go back with 2K, because if they didn't have anything ready, they would have been like, oh, well, it's going to take too long to get a game out with EA, so we'll stick with 2K or whatever during these years. And maybe when that 2K contract comes up, EA has something to show. And if WWE doesn't want it, then they still have that engine. Maybe they can give it to AEW. So, I mean,
I've
we'll
wondered
see how
that
that
myself.
turns out, but
You bring up a good point, because I've wondered that too, of when there was rumblings of, EA might go with WWE and not 2K. I was wondering that of like, how are you going to turn around and be like, sure, EA, like you get the contract for 5 years, but they wouldn't be ready to produce a game in the next 24 months. Like producing a game from scratch takes them years. So that's why I think like you, where they must have teams working on stuff in the background, being like, we can deploy this. We got to obviously insert all of the assets and such, but the core game mechanics, they must have something in there somewhere to be like, we could put together a wrestling game. We have the UFC game and that whole engine we're working with, and you adopt some of that and put it over to wrestling. I just don't see WWE or even AEW wanting to be like, yeah, we'll take a 2-year wait so that you guys can get your stuff together and then we'll do it. I think that like AEW would need to turn around and be like, it's coming out next year. It's with EA. And likewise, WWE's not going to lose out on millions of revenue.
Right. And yeah, that's just speculation, but I think, that might kind of be what happened. Might have been what happened because we know 2K could have gotten the game out a lot sooner than EA could. So maybe they signed another 5-year deal with 2K to see what EA had to present when that comes up again. So I don't know. I don't know if we even want a game from 2K. I mean, EA really, because a lot of people might want something different than what you're getting with 2K. But if it goes to EA, be careful what you ask for.
Now, speaking of 2K, let's talk a minute about 2K and 2K23 and 24. I want to ask you, and we talked about this on your show on the podcast, and you guys have been talking about this in the past too, but we got the recent My Faction content drops that have come out, that are going to come out. Where do you think My Faction is next year in terms of content? Because we got the Scott Steiner is supposedly going to come out in a My Faction drop. Where do you think they go with this next year? Are they going to double down, in your opinion, with this mode? Are they going to tighten it up even more? Or do you think that they are going to do a slightly different approach with it where they will still have it in the mode, it's still pay for it, locked, but then once you've unlocked Scott Steiner, you can get him in the base game? Do you think they adjust?
I don't think they adjust. I was talking to Brian about this, and he was saying pretty much how they're getting their money or whatever from that My Faction mode. I don't think they're going to adjust it at all. I think they're going to double down, and it might get worse next year. I never even opened up that My Faction unless it was on an accident. Like, I said, they'll do that pop-up when you turn the game on. New stuff in My Faction. Press A, and then I accidentally get in there. So I really don't even know what that mode is. I just know they want me to go in there for whatever reason. And I think I might have tried it in one of the previous 2K games, but I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. And I just never went back in. So I don't know, but it's from what I understand, they're putting like specific costumes in that mode where you can't use outside of it.
Yeah, you got like Asuka, and now Scott Steiner is listed. There's a Miz in there too. Like there's a number of stars they've had. Even last year was like DX was in there and locked.
Yeah,
there's a lot there that they're not unlocking.
So are you actually able to play matches in My Faction mode, or is it just cards based?
Matches. You really haven't touched this thing, have you? You lucky man.
I have not. I have never went in there and touched it. I don't even know what it is.
Don't worry about it. You're not missing anything. No, it's full matches. It's not like Super Card where it's card for card. You're literally doing their towers, their matches they list out. But the thing is, you can't even see full entrances. You have to play within the confines of, okay, you have an Extreme Rules match of you versus Tozawa. Pick your card, like who's your character based on the cards you've collected, and you're using that. So if you unlock Scott Steiner through the random packs or put money down and buy him with physical dollars, literal dollars, that's the only way you're doing it. Otherwise, it's just a game of chance. It's a casino.
Okay, so when you say towers, is it like kind of like the old school arcade towers? You fight wrestler after wrestler?
Yeah. And then after every time you go up, you're going to get more cards, more points. Every time you hit the objectives for that, you get like whatever. You do 10 of the matches in a row up the ladder, and it'll be like a better card.
Oh, man, you might have just sold me on My Faction. I don't know.
I'm sorry. No, it's fine. Like, honestly,
I might have to check that out. I actually like it.
There's some bright spots with it. It's just I think the one thing that turns everyone off is, congratulations, you unlocked Attitude Era Triple H, but you can't pull him into universe mode. And that's what gets under everyone's skin. Otherwise, most of the feedback I hear anyways is like I don't play it. So it's like, it doesn't bother me. I just don't touch it. I'm like, you don't have to. And a lot of people that say I do play it, they're like, I haven't spent a dime. I've asked and I've wondered from 2K, I'm like, how many people are actually playing this? It must be enough because you keep putting more into it every year. Yeah. And this is the third year of it. So.
Yeah, I might have to check that out though, because like I love the Mortal Kombat towers. Now they kind of messed them up in Mortal Kombat 1, but if there was like a mode where you could play fight after fight and actually earn stuff like in an Infinite Tower or something, I would like that. So
it's pretty much an
Infinite
Tower.
Something to do.
Because they also have, again, here's the positive of it. But it's like the one positive I like this year is they have live events. So they will post, every day or week. Like here's a specific live event match you need to try to complete to get a bigger reward. So if you're gonna do like bloodline stuff, they'll tell you to go and have this match against Solo, beat him, and then keep going up, and you can complete the whole thing for it. So yeah, there's good rewards in there. It's just I think the structure of it is, it's not ideal, but again, maybe next year they can nail it down some more.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see why they do it in that case thing, because it sounds like it's there to always give you something to do. Like, even when you finish all of the content, it's kind of like a single player mode where you can still grind or whatever, get what you want. But I think they should make it where maybe they put costumes in there that you can only unlock in my faction, but then you can use them in an actual game. I mean, that would make the most sense to me. So hopefully they do make a change or update like that. I mean, I don't know if the people who don't want to touch it would want to do that, but I mean, I get it. If that's what they're trying to do to keep people invested in the game and keep them playing, then I mean, I understand. But the fact that you're locking stuff behind just that mode just doesn't really make sense.
What do you want to see then, Kenny, from 2K? Or I know you're more of the AEW guy now, but for the 2K side of things,
I still love the wrestling games are wrestling games. I love them all.
There you go.
So I'm looking forward to 2. Yeah, go ahead.
No, just what do you want to see from 24? What's on kind of your wish list?
So the thing I look forward to most every year is like the not the showcase mode, like the what is it called now? The My Rise.
Yep.
So that's always been my favorite part of any wrestling game, like the season career mode type thing. So I want to see what they do next year. I don't really like what My Rise is right now. Like, that's the thing I look forward to most in every wrestling game, and I didn't even play through it in 2K24 yet. I actually, since we were going to do this, I was going to try to play through it last night, but when I got in there, I was like, you know what? I don't like this creative character I made last time, so I just deleted him, and I said I'm going to use somebody I downloaded from Community Creations in this mode. You can't do it.
Yeah, no. Well, you can import.
Am I missing something?
You can import your creations. Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it said I couldn't do it. So I said I had to create my wrestler directly in My Rise.
No, you can.
And I just jumped
from
right
the menu when you're going to pick like lock or legacy. And you got the 3 slots, the blank slots of like, what are you going to do? It's like on Xbox, it's like press Y, I guess triangle. And it'll say, at the very bottom, it says import. And you can import your Caw. So like, I've gone and downloaded like a Mandy Rose creation and then used her as the one I use in the storyline. So you can do it.
Okay, so I am going to go back in there and do that then. I just didn't want to create my wrestler again after I deleted them. But I looked it up and it said, no, you can't import your created wrestler. Like, I guess that's Google for you. But the thing I don't like about where My Rise is right now is I like to see the story play out, but when you go backstage and you kind of got like somebody here, somebody here, somebody here, and you can choose to talk to those people, you got to go on your phone. I think it's just too much, too bloated. And that's something that, you know, we always ask for is to get backstage in these modes. But I just don't like the way it is right now. I think it's just too much. And I want them to cut that down a bit. Like the Road to WrestleManias we had in the old school games, I used to love those. Just straight up story, you know, you get your good cut scenes and everything. I mean, they don't have much replay value like the My Rise does, but I would like to see them go back to something like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to most. I'm hoping they do a big change to what they have with My Rise right now.
I'm with you too. I like My Rise in itself. I'm on the other side. I don't look for that every single year. I'm more of my GM, universe mode, that stuff. But I still play through them, and they're fun enough. But I'm with you that is one thing this year I don't like is like, here's all your social media stuff you got to look into, and like,
I don't like
do you want to talk to them, and it's slow, and it bogs you down versus like the free roam we've had in the past where just run around backstage, and do you want to talk to that person and run up to them, interact, or do you want to just go and have your match? I feel like, you said it, you nailed it on the head there. It's a little too bloated. I'd like to see just more cutscenes and less of the, you could try and talk to all these people, and then it ends, half of it's meaningless.
Right. Yep. So I would be completely fine if they went back to that, just like the free roam area where you see the people standing by the TV or whatever, or you see them talking to each other, even if some people you can't interact with, and you just run to the curtain when you're ready for your match. That's fine. But honestly, it's so bloated right now. If they cut all of that out and just gave us a straightforward story, I would be fine with that as well. I remember getting knocked out by the Undertaker and Here Comes the Pain. Just stuff like that, you know, just fine. Just simple backstage stuff is fine. You don't got to put so much in there.
What do you want to see and what do you think we get for like match types? Because we got War Games this past year. That was their big big sell, right? Was John
Mm-hmm.
Cena on the showcase and then War Games. What do you think they're going to do
Yeah.
this year as their big match type?
So I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of people say special guest referee. I'm
Bet you they
hearing that's
don't.
what everybody wants, but I don't know. Because what else can they put in there? Again, Buried Alive match is my favorite. They took that's not in 2K24, right?
No. You can't do a
You said
Buried
no?
Alive this year. Nah,
Yeah,
no.
I'd say bring it back. That's my favorite match. Undertaker versus Stone Cold. Let's recreate it.
You want to put him on a symbol. That's what you need is put your guy in a
Yeah.
symbol match.
Right.
You got to press triangle so you can get his arms slatched down there. Paul Bear's yelling in the background too.
Yeah, a little
I think
time
special
event, right?
You got a 6-minute time limit on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Fails every
Throw
time,
it in
and then
there.
most of the time it glitches out anyways. You end up putting him on a symbol in the crowd. It goes through the barricade. But yeah, casket match, Buried Alive matches.
Mhm.
I'm thinking they're probably gonna do like one thing, like one match type, and then they'll market around that. I think they need to add in a few, to be honest. Their push of War Games was that they spent several years developing it to get it to work. Cool. Let's bring it back again. But like, I don't think special guest referee, if you just said we brought this back, that's enough. Like you've gotta be like, here is a Buried Alive match, here is special guest referee and a gauntlet match. Have fun. Plus everything else. I don't think it's enough.
You think they just go with a match, or you think they'll go with a new mode this time?
I don't think you need a new mode, man. I think it's like then
Like the
we're
story
getting,
creator?
yeah. So I've been asked this too of like, do you think they'll bring back story designer and like story creator? And to me, no. But what I think they do over time, I think we're seeing it because promos is one thing people always say they want back, and what I think they're going to do is expand on the universe mode action lists where you can press Undertaker to do a chair shot at the beginning. I think they're going to expand on that next year, and that is your story designer. That you can take Undertaker and say, hit promo. What kind of promo do you want? I want to talk trash. I want to, shake hands. I want to do it at the stage ramp. And not 2K not giving us the full gambit of controls we want. I think they limit it, and they're like, yeah, you can now do promos again. And they basically merge them together. My one thing is like, I don't think they do another mode, because then it gets so bloated where it's like you got 6-7 different things and they're all kind of good. I think at some point they do melt universe and GM together. What about you?
Yeah, I you know what, that would make sense. Yeah, universe and GM together. I don't see why those two modes are separate in the first place. But as far as like the story designer, I think it would be a big benefit, like for content creators and for people who want to create stories. Like, let us hook a keyboard or something to the controller and type in, like, even if they put it in universe mode, let us type out whatever they're saying in the promos. Now that could get kind of messy, but if you can upload those stories online and you can just play through different people's stories, I think that'll add a lot to the game, because you got something to do all year, because you got a lot of people just creating these days. So I think it'll be a big benefit to the game, but I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if we'll see it. You know what? Yuke's made the mode in the first place, so maybe we see it in the future AEW game.
Wouldn't that be something? You'd think with Tony Khan wanted to up, WWE all the time, he'd be like, I'm going to show him up with a video game and do like a story designer and a universe mode and a this and that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now, everybody says WWE doesn't attack them, but they do, because after those ratings came out, WWE started promoting 2K24 as the best rated wrestling game or whatever. So that's the way they do their things. It's a lot cleaner, but they still do it.
It's a lot cleaner, but they do it. Yeah, they're not in the trenches like Tony, just full out calling
Tony's
him
in
a
the trenches.
bald asshole.
Oh, man. It
It's
gets
a
kind of
lot.
crazy with them.
So guys, we are going to wrap just a couple more minutes, and we'll do a little bit of the community Q&A since you guys are joining us here live. If you're watching this on demand, Kenny, where can they find you, my man?
KennyBomb.com. Easy.
There you go.
And again, it got wrestling, got Mortal Kombat, got UFC, all kind of stuff. I'm waiting to get this wrestling code update. So Virtual Basement, they did contact me and said, you know what, we'll give you something special. We'll give you an interview and some clips whenever that comes out. I haven't heard anything from him yet, but it's been a year since we've seen that game. If y'all aren't familiar with the Wrestling Code, I definitely recommend y'all go check it out. When that interview comes, I'm going to be doing it with, you know what? We still don't have a name, but the WGC, the guys I do the podcast with. Right now, we are at WrestleBomb, so make sure y'all check out WrestleBomb as well. We'll be doing an interview together, so yeah, let's get to that.
Nice. Guys, make sure that you do go and subscribe to Kenny over at youtube.com/@KennyBomb. Subscribe, drop a like on his videos. He's got the new stuff on the latest updates for AEW Fight Forever. He's also got new content on Mortal Kombat, like he said. Kenny, thank you so much. Stick around for a few minutes. Chat.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on again.
Let me talk to him.